Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Strife's Sanctum podcast. My name is Citizen Strife, and it's another 2-week stretch, so it's more anime discussion. This time, I'm veering slightly into the spring with a show that debuted. Nothing else has really debuted yet that I'm interested in, though it's going to show up. And I'm going to mostly finish up stuff that is either stopping or is going to continue into spring, but, the spring episodes haven't shown up yet or haven't debuted yet. So the ground rules as usual for these are I'm watching dub only, so I might be 2 to 3 weeks behind schedule as far as the sub uploads are, because dubs could, be delayed for any number of reasons, but usually 2 weeks in advance unless they upload them at the same week, which does happen. Spoilers, as usual. So anything you haven't seen, haven't caught up on, be forewarned that we're very late to almost towards the end of the season. So if you haven't seen these, you're going to hear things that have already happened, so bear that in mind. And there we go. And I usually have kept up with the 3 or 4 shows that I've stuck with. Anything I add or anything I drop, I usually try to save to the end, so most of the exciting stuff or the things I'm really jazzed for is right at the beginning. Case in point, the Apothecary Diaries, which is good because apparently it's just going to keep running into the spring season, as is an announcement that Core 2 is going to be, or Season 2, I forget how they describe it, is going to be in July, so I do like the fact that we're getting stuff in this season and we're getting stuff in next season that I like, so I know I'm happy. But Apothecary Diaries is keeping up with the show and has kept up with this arc over the last couple of episodes about the late Emperor and his proclivities for underage girls. Yeah, and ugh. So, in a weird way, they kept it up, but they went a different route this week because they did a ghost story. I've seen a lot of shows do this round table ghost story thing, and I actually used that trope for a D&D session with my group a couple months back, which had some interesting results. The funny thing was that one of Gyokyo's aides was actually with Mao Mao at the time, so you get a little bit more from them because they don't usually get a lot of story stuff, which is nice. So Mao Mao and one of the aides or ladies in waiting go to the ghost story, and they start telling stories. Some of them just to get ignored. Mao Mao started to just feel, these things are going on and going on. She tells a story. Other people tell stories. They tell stories. Mao Mao is not really believing it. What she finds out is that all the while, smoke has been building and building and building in the room, and the ladies in waiting are basically being rendered unconscious. What reasoning? We don't know. The late Emperor is dead, but so was the storyteller. So part of the ghost story bit was that apparently she just kept on going and kept on doing the ghost story thing in spite of the fact that she passed on, apparently. So, yeah, what a weird thing. But apparently she said, and I apologize for using the word apparently a lot, but she kept on doing the thing after even describing that she was one of the ones that the late Emperor had deflowered. So, yeah, that storyline has just kept on going. But knowing that Apothecary is going to continue into next season, I'm very happy because Apothecary is one of my favorite shows the last couple of years, along with Frieren. But Frieren's going to take its sweet time and then go into the next year. So Apothecary is carrying this year hard, which is good. Which you're going to have to do a lot to impress me past Apothecary because it's easily one of my favorite shows going. Toilet-bound Hanako-kun is getting towards the end. We've been figuring out the Shijima, the art room, has been creating this fake world. But the last couple of episodes have been about who has been responsible other than her. and what her real kind of motivations are as a wonder. But it turns out that Hanako himself is involved and wanting Nene to stay there so that she doesn't die, apparently. Because they talked about her lifespan and her short one, and Nene is kind of distraught about this turn of events and is left to her own devices. Shijima, you start learning about who she was, and is it Tsukasa? Hanako's brother, the bad one, messes with them and says, I'm granting you wishes and I get to show you some things and whatever, because there's still that time limit, that awkward time limit. It's like once Shijima creates everything, everybody just kind of turns into the Matrix and they just live in that world. So yeah, it becomes the Matrix essentially. You forget that you're part of it. And that's what Hanako is trying to do. I think there's still like 2 episodes left. But the crux of it, as I stated in the last run, was you're starting to see the characters themselves react to their relationships and their interactions. It isn't just about the wonders themselves. It's about a personal issue and how it's affecting the group. And it's not even just Hanako and Nene, it's Ko and Mitsuba. Because they have their own issues going on. But now everybody's kind of in conflict with each other and how they resolve it. Should still be like 2 episodes left, and, everything's probably going to be hunky-dory in one way or another. But, given that setup, that was kind of not what I was expecting. So I'm really happy that they've taken this sort of route and stuck with this bigger arcing, larger arcing story for a change, because they didn't really do that in the first season. And it gives them a chance to, as characters, breathe more and figure stuff out, which is something that it was lacking. Ameku MD had a bit of a week off, so there's not too much going on in here, which is unfortunate. But they got to an episode at the last bit of their run, as I forget if there are 2 core or just a 1 core, but the last set of episodes apparently is the drowning in a dry room. This was a setup episode for the mystery. So Kotori is being reassigned to a thing, and Ameku's pissed because she likes him but won't admit it, and she's being a baby about it, and they just have annoying. But he drives her to this place anyway, and they find out that this delinquent son of this medical professional, like a director of a hospital / doctor, who's going to retire. He gives his entire, position to his better half, his better son, but the other dork is like this money-grubbing asshole. But as it's going on, he ends up dying of cardiac arrest and spewing water everywhere, despite having no water in the room. So he drowns, like, water in his lungs fucks up his heart as well. So it's weird. And they just set that episode up. And knowing how Ameku operates, both the character and the show, much like the Curse episodes that took like 3 to 4 episodes to get, they'll be layered mysteries upon each other. And the fact that Takao has forgotten about Kotori being just this guy leaving, because it's affecting his thing. Because one of the people leaving was the ones who was murdered or affected by this in one of the main suspects. So that's probably why he's leaving. So Ameku is probably just like, if I solve this, Kotori doesn't have to go anywhere, doesn't get transferred, and it's all hunky-dory, because she likes him. Let's just face it, she likes him. Not just as a patsy, but they might go that route. They haven't had any sort of interaction in that way. But anime, they'll always do that sort of thing, won't they? But who knows? So there's still like 2 or 3 episodes left. I want to say 2, and Ameku is one of the best shows of this season. I still think Zenshu was number 2 in or number 1 in non-sequels. and Ameku was second. Sakamoto Days was 3. But whether that continues or not, I do like the fact that Ameku was a kind of different experience, and I'm going to finish it up and enjoy it. And it did something I wanted it to do. A lot of shows have been focusing on female leads recently, which is really nice. But more than that, just the Mau Mau, Frieren, Fern, just interesting, the Natsuko thing, where you make a lead character, like, the show gravitates around how they react to things. And they react kind of snarky, but are well off on how they present it. So they themselves interact with everything and mean everything. Maybe not to the extent of Mau Mau. It's like Mau Mau is basically the reason the show even works at all. But in that same vein, it's like a lot of these shows are only as good as the writing. Speaking of writing, the first show and only new show that I've seen was a surprise. It was the Unaware Atelier Meister, or Master. Now, when I first saw it, when I first heard about it, when I first read the art, like, as soon as it debuted, because I watched this, like, on Sunday morning, it was, like, the first thing that got dubbed, and just bam, it was, this guy's banished from the party because he sucks. And the first couple minutes are, he got banished from the party because he sucks in battle, and they don't like him, and I'm like, oh dear. Because you have that. I even dumped a show that did that last season. It was with the A-rank adventurer and his, like, students do the whatever, and I dumped it in, like, 5 minutes. I was expecting this to be dumped in 5 minutes, and not even dumping it after the episode, but continuing it. So this is going to be in my junk food drawer, because I'm not expecting much, but I felt like the show was better as it went on. Despite the fact that it doesn't do anything that is, like, amazing in any regard. Oh boy, he's the guy that does everything well. He overdoes everything. He's great, and everybody thinks he's great, and it's a harem show. Oh god, I should hate this. But I didn't. It's weird. There's no amazing thing about it. It's just pleasant. It was pleasant to watch. One of the funnier things, because this was the dubbed version, I got to go to Anime Detour like this last weekend. And I went through, like, Friday and Saturday, and I took Sunday off because I had to do some, like, apartment cleaning and whatever, and I was just like, whatever. One of the panels I went to, and one of the actors I met was Kieran Strange. And Kieran voiced, Macmillan from the recent Black Butler School arc. So the friend that CL had, friend, I suppose, the gossiper and, like, well-to-do, I want to be your friend, main friend, whatever that means to CL, right? That Scottish sounding kid. And then was it Pyrene from Apothecary Diaries, and then some other things. So it's like, go to their panel, meet them in the checkout line, get a print. It was a cool interaction because I was in a Robotnik outfit, Eggman outfit, and got to talk to Kieran, and it was a great interaction because they're really cool. They're a gamer, and Kieran asked, hey, mind if I take a picture from my mom? It'd be great. And threw in an extra sticker. So I paid for the Macmillan poster and a Pyrene sticker all at once. It was a cool interaction. Kieran's great, and I was happy about that. The reason it's funny was this show, Unaware Atelier Meister, the dub version, the main character is voiced by Kieran Strange, a person whose voice and face I had been seeing all over the con for the last 24 to 48 hours. It was just kind of funny. So it just was like one of those weird coincidences you don't expect. But Kurt himself as a character is the very naive, very well off character who is just doesn't want to be bothered by anything, is good at everything. They go do, like Kurt, he goes and does like fucking painting a wall, gets it done before anyone else, so they fire him because it's temp work and he was supposed to get it done slowly. Nope. Then he goes and do something else. Nope. But then he meets somebody who's part of the royal family, and they secretly need to do some prospecting in a mine or something, and he just gets the thing done in like an hour. So it's going to be one of those. It's like his abilities to just do random junk is going to be what saves the day. So it's another one of those. And yet, for whatever reason, it's the writing that works. It doesn't have the tone of like the weakest tamer begins a journey to pick up trash. You know how the main character in that show is like ostracized, and basically anyone who's a zero rank person, zero skill person, is just completely bullied, and it's almost a racial thing in a way. That's how demeaned they are. This is not that. It's just, I was banished from the party, but I'm better at all the random shit. So this guy's not good at fights, but he's great at everything else. So, oh boy. But I'm still sitting here thinking, in that first episode, there's something about the writing that is a bit better than the normal junk food. Because I had this problem with several shows in other seasons where the writing is just terrible. And there's no characters in there. Because even if Kurt doesn't really have a character, he still sounds like he's there. Unlike another person who you've seen this cliche a million fucking times, and they're just spouting dialogue at your face, thinking that it's the best, thinking that the show is the best thing in the world. Like this dialogue has never been seen before. Like the most generic of generic stuff spat out in your face like word salad. This at least has some moments where the characters feel like they're actually bouncing off themselves, even if nothing they're doing is interesting. And it's easily something that could be dropped if it's bad, right? But I have hope in it because I want to like this show. It was pleasant in a good enough way. And sometimes being good enough can get you over the finish line. I hope that I'm right because I need shows other than Apothecary. I love myself some Apothecary and Toilet Bound, but I like other shows, and this could be something that I stick with. There's going to be a lot more shows that debut on both Netflix and Crunchy and whatnot, but for now, I at least got a new show and I liked it. Because there are other things that, like Fire Force. I watched a few episodes of Fire Force and kind of fell off. So I'm not into the new season. Or haven't started Devil May Cry, But there's a lot of stuff that's going to come out in the next week or so. And we'll see if I can get to that by the next update. But for now, it'll do. Nice, easy, peasy run. But let's talk about what's coming up after this. So I've got the Inspector episode. That's going to run for next week. By the end of April, it's going to be Final Fantasy IX. May 10th is Mega May, and I actually checked this morning to make sure I wasn't making a mistake. I was going to do Mega Man 3. Turns out I'd already done it, and I'd forgotten that I was already up to Mega Man 3, so Mega Man 4. So I'll do Mega Man 4 instead, and then Mega Man X4. So both series are in the same time frame. So there, Castlevania seasons 1 through 4, and then a game that I was gonna do earlier this year, and then just because I switched over to the spring or the anime discussion thing recently, I went to delaying actual reviews more and more. So one of the games that I was thinking about doing just fell by the wayside until I remembered it, and it's gonna be Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. So that's going to be mid to late June. So I'm busy for a while. But that'll do for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Citizen Strife, signing off.